Friends, you are welcome to participate in our Fellowship of Isis ceremonial magic of the planet Saturn and the goddess Astarte. Anoint your brow with water to awaken your eye of vision. Feel light, but don't lose consciousness. Keep all of yourself and your spiritual self to enjoy this. In your time and place, my future, rise into the air above your home. Come back in time to your past. At the time of winter, in the constellation of Capricorn, in the land of Inishfoyle, Ireland. You find yourself crossing the sea and floating over this lovely land as evening draws nigh, as the sun moves into the house of Capricorn at the time of the dark moon, so the stars are shining brightly. You see Orion and Sirius low in the south. You look down and you see two rivers. This is your guiding symbol, the Y, and you descend between where two streams meet, matrix, holy place of the goddess. You see the matriarchal grey castle, concealed from ground level with dark yew trees and a wilderness. And you look for the guiding light you are expecting, and you see a pale white light emanating from the very earth beneath the castle. You descend through the castle like a mist, and you find a group of priestesses and priests surrounding a holy well that sprung up from the very earth. This is the source of the light. Magicians wear high black and yellow headdresses and black and white robes with the insignia of the planet Saturn, which looks like a scythe, and they hold black and yellow striped wands. Enchantresses wear silver moon crowns, black and silver robes with moon insignia, and hold silver wands. The practitioners of magic wear similar attire and circlets and headdresses. The archpriest of this ceremony, Lawrence Durden Robertson, welcomes the companions to the holy well.
Welcome to the holy well of Bridget.
The priestess Hierophant, the Reverend Joan Hartigan, anoints each brow with water she has drawn from the well, with words of blessing as she anoints each forehead.
The blessings of the goddess Bridget of the well bring you true vision and healing.
How beautiful. Imagine this. See this priestess with her moon crown moving through this crowd of people, blessing them with holy water. And those who are psychic see silver power come from her fingers and form a circlet round each forehead. Feel this tingling yourself in your third eye. Now the archpriest calls the company, the companions, forth to make procession to the temple of the pylons.
Let us proceed forth to the temple of the pylons.
The company make procession, the priests carrying bowls of incense, and some priestesses pitchers of water from the well. They pass 9 columns in the form of the L of Isis. They leave the temple and reach the darkening parterre, which has Florence Court yew trees arranged in a geometrical pattern, 10 yews facing a belvedere, forming a line with 2 sidelines is a mighty yew tree walk, 600 years old, down which ghostly monks, Franciscans, are said to make procession. I want you to visualize yourself going down a long dark tunnel of yew trees. You are facing the southwest. Come, follow the procession. You are reaching pale light at the end and emerge beneath the starry evening stars. The procession makes its way through a palm garden, fan palms, and reaches a hill. The priesthood leading the way, procession is made up this hill. On the right is a nematon, grove of oak trees, and on the left is spread the magnificent panorama of our sacred Mount Leinster, surmounted with its cone, with 2 hills either side, forming the form of the triple goddess, and above shine Sirius and Orion, and the star Jupiter is in the sky high, and Venus in the horizon. The company now is reaching a great white building with a silvery dome, 4 domed roofs. This building is 80 foot by 80 foot. The procession forms a circuit round this building. Imagine yourself doing this. Then the priesthood enter by a small door, and we enter, as it were, into another dimension. Here are 24 stone pylons. At the quarters are 2 mighty granite stones at each quarter, forming a diagonal cross. Another 8 stones blue slate, looked like magnetizing tablets, great stones. In the center are 8 standing stones, again in pairs of black marble. So the whole form is of 24 stones, and the form with the path through of the 8-pointed star of Ishtar. The company make procession 3 times round the pylons. Imagine yourself moving on the path of the sun 3 times round these mysterious stones, carefully cut to geometrical measure by some unknown canon of proportion. The incense swirls away from the bowls held by the priesthood, and they place incense and water in a center square filled with many-colored stones, some crystal. And we look up, and to our surprise, the central dome of this building is the starry sky itself. Look up at the stars. The company now direct their gaze to the north. Here is what looks like a statue of a woman seated on a throne, totally robed in black. Her hands are in the Egyptian pose of meditation, one on either knee. The principal magician approaches her and offers incense. And as he does so, we realize we are looking upon a pythoness in deep trance. The smoke of the incense seems to delineate the form of steam, and we see light is coming from the north, behind and above the priestess, in the form of a silver sphere. Some may even glimpse a woman's form. The magician is making invocation that the oracle be granted.
We offer incense to thee, Astarte, Queen of Heaven. O Virgin of the Sea, Blessed Mother and Lady of the Waters, stay the waves of adversity. Goddess of the Moon, bring us to know thy mysteries. Beautiful Lady, Goddess of Love, without thee the cruelties of life, the tedious work, the harshness of changing time bring us to despair. Who may live joyfully without hope of a spiritual life, to be enjoyed beyond the confines of the severe laws of this material world? Aid us to reach thy heaven, now and beyond the grave.
Not always is the oracle granted, but this time we hear a lovely woman's voice speaking behind the veil.
You children of earth deplore the severities of Saturn, whose golden age sprang from justice rather than compassion, from the sciences rather than the arts, and from the riches of the material world rather than the angelic beauty of visions. You invoke me as you invoke sleep, weary from struggles and suffering, in the hope of receiving dreams more lovely than earthly life. And I welcome you to my realm. Yet to reach it you need to study and to work, to see my face behind the veil, you have to learn to obey the rigorous laws of my husband Saturn. Know that I am the goddess Astarte, the hidden Shekinah of Jehovah, who dares gaze upon she who, guarded by him, may neither be called by her inner name nor seen by impious men. Know that I am the hidden power behind the God of cause and effect, of law and time. I am his concealed joy and reward and his everlasting love. When you have learned to obey the outer laws guarded by the God, naturally you will mature and be brought to understand my mysteries that are only to experience by those ready to receive them. Beware. Beware, there are those who think that discovering my psychic powers, they may with impunity break the outer laws that bind others. These should remember the fate of Icarus, who tried to reach my heaven with artificial wings held together with wax, which melted as he flew too near the sun. And so he fell, as many others have. For truly you cannot reach my starry heaven without love and the law. Love brings you the entry to my sphere. But wisdom gives you the ability to stay there. Ambitious seekers may find themselves in heaven, but without love or law they cannot see, hear, think or feel in a divine sphere beyond their capacity of enjoyment. And so they say there is nothing there and are disillusioned. So they bar the way to their return to heaven and prevent others from making the attempt. So if you would find me, use both the imagination and the intellect, love and the law, creativity and loyal endurance. So will you be holy and be able to accept my psychic gifts with both hands.
All fold their hands in gratitude for the oracle. The archpriest now steps forward holding his great crook, and he calls upon the company to invoke the god Saturn and the goddess Astarte.
Now we call upon the god Saturn.
The company now all turn towards a wonderful central fire before an altar. A magician steps forward, holding up his magical staff with the sign of the scythe of Saturn upon it. He makes invocation to the god.
I hail mighty god Saturn of the ringed orb, bringer of justice and balance, of logic, clear mind and skilled hand. Powerful Kronos, with thy reaping scythe, thou dost end the span of mortal existence, and dost measure the span of thy 5 ages. Thou who art reborn as an innocent child at the stroke of midnight and midwinter, bring us earthly wisdom and the knowledge of all sciences. Let us understand number and the laws of cause and effect. Give us calculation of consequences, and help us to understand thy commandments of honesty and of intelligence. Give us the means of obeying them through toil and study.
The chief enchantress now, in her lovely black and silver robes, lifts up her moon-crested wand and makes the sign of the moon, which is a circle with an S in it, with her wand.
I invoke the goddess Astarte, divine goddess of the moon, Phoenician wife of Kronos, who wieldeth the tides of ages and of birth and death. goddess of the cones of power from which are born both galaxies and stars and planets, be with us. For from thee were brought to birth the Titanides, and we turn to thee as mother of the deities and of ourselves. Bless us as thou, O Astarte, blessed Solomon the wise, who built for thee a high place in Jerusalem. Thy wisdom is of the inner mysteries, and this knowledge is lost to us, orphaned as we are of the Great Mother. Save us and all life, lest we perish from the earth.
Another magician steps forth and addresses the companions.
Fellow practitioners, we invoke these great deities that we may practice the ceremonial magic of the planet Saturn, bringing the left side of our brains, which is ruled by Saturn, into accord with the right part of our brains, which belongs to Astarte. For of Saturn is the right hand and the right way, and of Astarte is the left hand and the left way. For we work with our right hands and create mighty cities, but our left hands are weak. For we ignore our hearts, which are on the left side of our bodies. Saturn is the straight path and teaches the intellectual analysis of the five senses. So to him belongs this pentagram.
Here, the magician places a pentagram, that's a five-pointed star, upon the altar and makes its sign with his magical wand. Now another enchantress steps forward and raises her wand.
Astarte is of the curve and knows no straightness. Hers is the twist of the spiral and the crooked smile, the half-veiled face, the laugh that has no reason but laughs. In perfect conjunction these twain show forth a hexagram, Saturn with the triangle with point upwards, and Astarte with the point downwards. She uses the reverse pentagram. He loves the colours black, white, and yellow, she black and silver. When these deities are divorced, our world is destroyed by rancour and loss of balance. When they are joined in marriage, intellect and intuition bring peace and wisdom.
Here the archpriest steps forward and raises his crook, that a neophyte might undergo the trials of Saturn and Astarte.
May the neophyte stand forth, about to undergo the trials of Astarte and Saturn.
Here we observe a lovely white-robed maiden. Two priestesses are either side of her, as it were, supporting her. She is led forward.
I offer to undergo the trials, that all may learn.
These trials are not of earthly strength, but rather seek to develop and harmonize both mind and the psyche in perfect balance. So be you King Oedipus of Grecian Thebes, and answer 5 questions.
Here, 5 magical practitioners are placing themselves in the center of the House of the Monoliths in the form of a pentagram round the neophyte who stands in the middle. The magician addresses her.
Hear the first riddle. This comes from the Golden Age. First from heavenly Olympus came Saturn. He gathered together the unruly race of men scattered over mountain heights and gave them laws. Under his reign were the golden ages men tell of. In such perfect peace ruled the nations. till little by little there crept in a worse race of duller hue, with frenzy of war and passion for gain. To one of these men, Oedipus, there came the Sphinx, who gave him this very riddle I now give you. What is it that goes upon 4 legs in the morning, on 2 legs at noon, and at eventide upon 3 legs, and speaks with the one voice throughout?
Here the whole company sink into meditation, seated, and the neophyte sits with eyes shut and hands clasped. Think well. What is the answer? Not with received wisdom that you have been given, because Oedipus ended with disaster. I'll repeat it. What is it that goes upon 4 legs in the morning, on 2 at noon, and at eventide upon 3 legs, and speaks with the one voice throughout? Meditate on this, for on this may rest your destiny. Visualize the Theban Sphinx, the Greek Sphinx, who has a woman's body. She is wind, has an animal's body, a woman's head and face, yes, and an animal body. Facing her is a man, a king, who's brave enough to ask this question. He's a Greek king. This is an enigma. All so far had been destroyed by giving the wrong answer. A woman's beautiful face and body, face and half down to her waist, and the lower bit, an animal, a lion. She asks you this. This was at the dawn of civilization, and now we are at the end, and we face the same riddle. Are you ashamed of having an animal body, like those who were revolted when Darwin said that we once went on 4 legs? Do you aspire to wings? You haven't any wings yet. You love your own beautiful face and abhor your body? Or do you dwell entirely in your body and have no human head at all? Meditate. Do you choose the human, or the angel with wings, or the animal? Can you combine all 3? Oedipus is the intellectual Athenian in character. He knew the answer. He thought. To him, the answer was man himself. As a child, he crawled on 4 legs. We all know his answer. He stood on 2 legs, and when he was old, like his own grandfather, he assumed he'd lean on a stick. What of the even voice throughout, the same voice? What about the wings? Man, he declared, is the finest creation of nature. Man conquers nature. Man's mind will conquer the stars. This was the mind of Oedipus the king, who ended blind. Let us wait and hear the answer of the neophyte.
Clear is the answer to my mind. Evolving man. Firstly, man crawls upon the land as reptile and animal. Next, he stands on 2 legs as Homo sapiens. Finally, he grasps the spear of destiny, his magical implement upon which he leans for security. His even voice is his clever mind.
Friends, we are participating in the ceremonial magic of Saturn and Astarte. The neophyte is undergoing the first trial of the Sphinx that faced Oedipus. Now, she has given a very clever answer. Instead of just saying man, who crawls as a baby, 4 legs, toddles around and then has a stick in old age, she sees the whole of evolution as the answer. We wait to hear what the Magus says.
A clever answer. Oedipus did no worse, yet he perished miserably from his blindness.
Here the neophyte bends down humbly among all the little stones that are in the center of the Temple of the Pylon, and she points to a crystal which is covered with a veil.
Unveil the crystal for me, that I may see which is concealed in darkness.
Here an enchantress uncovers the crystal, and the neophyte, kneeling, gazes into it. Suddenly she becomes ecstatic.
I see! The Sphinx is winged and is a woman. She speaks unlike man with one voice throughout her life. The true answer is the winged goddess, she who will be, for her animal body is her past, and her woman's body her present, but the wings are of her soul. And so may it be with us all, that the golden age may return in its cycle.
Here the candidate is presented with a crystal in that she has given her own answer to the riddle. A magician now speaks.
When the noble spirits of the Golden Age were supplanted, they became guardians of mortal men, kindly and delivering from harm, for they roam everywhere on earth, clothed in mist, and keep watch. And they protected a third race, for they that dwelt on Olympus brought forth a generation of silver. and these were of an innocent and childish disposition, and stayed with their mothers 100 years before maturity. Hear the riddle of the silver child. Not too high, not too low, not too quick, not too slow. Twist the rope, mark the beat, use both hands, watch your feet. Not too small, not too great, guess my name and know your fate.
What on earth does this mean? And yet, if we know the name of who this is, we'll know our fate. I'll repeat it. Not too high, not too low, not too quick, not too slow. Twist the rope, mark the beat, use both hands, watch your feet. Not too small, not too great. Guess my name and know your fate. Let us meditate on this. I'm thinking, I used to work on a children's playground, and I used to enjoy the sort of doggerel. Can you remember any of them? Ivory, Ivory, chimney sweeper, had a wife and couldn't beat her, had another, didn't love her, up the chimney he did shove her, bang, 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 watch your feet, mind your feet. The beat was, I can't think this is very elevated. I can't think of some more, they all run through my head. The children love them, they always, well, skip, 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 little girls, their feet, skip, skip, skip. Can you think of any? Might suggest something to you. On your face, what on earth can that mean? All the boys in our street, all the girls in our street, all the boys in our street are looking for a wife. Oh, da, da, da. Oh, ridiculous. This is meant to be a serious meditation on the very gloomy Saturn planet. Think yourself, anyway, that was my idea. Let us hear, I can't make head or tail of this, but let's hear what the neophyte has to say.
The answer is the golden mean, the middle way. Yet there may be some other meaning behind such apparent simplicity.
She gazes into the crystal.
The name, it is the child, it is myself. For as a child I relate all to myself, for I am always right. It is all I know. The length and the breadth and the height I measure by my own growth. To grow well, I need to look beyond myself, for each, when spiritually young, is the center of his own universe. The mother has the child within herself, so she accepts the reality of another being, but the child does not comprehend the mother.
The candidate has given an acceptable answer, for she is presented with a bowl of incense. She has answered this riddle. Now the enchantress speaks.
Hearken to the third riddle. Zeus, the son of Cronus, reared a third race of men of the age of bronze, and these were separated from the goddess, their true mother, and bore no likeness at all to the gentle beings of Silver Age. They were hero men who called themselves demigods, and were the race before our own. Grim war and dread battle destroyed a part of them in the land of Cadmus, and 7 gated Thebes, and some at Troy for rich-haired Helen's sake, and there death's end enshrouded part of them. Hear their riddle. In the mighty temple of Troy, enshrined in the Holy of Holies, was the Palladium. This statue of the goddess, which could flash fire from her eyes and move, was called the Luck of Troy, and while the Trojans held it, the city was safe. But cunning Odysseus, guided by Athena and by Helen of the white arms, stole the Palladium for Hellas. And so the godlike Aryans conquered Troy. Yet listen well. A secret teaching tells that the Greeks stole but a replica, that the pious Aeneas, son of Aphrodite, rescued the real Palladium which from him came to Rome. There it was, guarded by the Vestal virgins in secrecy in the temple of Vesta, and from the Palladium came all the might of Rome. Now answer, where is the Palladium?
How wonderful is this question! What a story! The Palladium, Luck of Troy, wisdom's self, reminds us of that young man Paris, when the 3 goddesses came to him, the goddess of love, Aphrodite, the goddess of rulership, Hera, the goddess of wisdom, Pallas Athena, and he gave the apple to the goddess of love, Venus. And we know that he became father to the Romans, who worshipped the goddess Venus. But Odysseus worshipped Athena, and the Athenians set a mighty temple of her, the Parthenon, in Athens. The Greeks were followers of wisdom, the Romans of love. Where now is the statue of wisdom's self, manifestation of Athena? Let us look over the races, the civilizations of the world, and wonder where it may be concealed. We all think our own country. What about habit? What about the Statue of Liberty, or the Winged Victory, or the museum? The neophyte gives her answer.
Plain is the answer to a philosopher. Pallas Athena is goddess of wisdom. The Trojans lost power through lack of wisdom, and so the wise Odysseus brought this knowledge to Greece. But Greece in her turn, torn by dissension, was conquered by the Romans, wise in government. The Palladium represents wisdom of government and is with those who practice this. Yet I sense that there is a mystery in this, and I would know more.
Here the neophyte gazes deep into the crystal.
I see a radiating, curved stone, animated by the pure spirit of a beautiful being, with plumes of light pouring from her head, and with a spear of light in her hand. The statue forms a bond between humans and deity, radiating divine wisdom. When the stone is lost through folly, those more worthy of it gain its powers, until they in turn stray in the paths of foolishness. The Palladium is buried until a wiser generation unearths it.
The neophyte has given the answer of her own soul, and so has answered the riddle. The enchantress presents her with a feather from Athena. Now the magician addresses her.
Hearken to the riddle of the fourth age, now drawing to its end. For now truly is the age of iron, and men never rest from labor and sorrow by day, and from perishing by night. And the god shall lay sore trouble upon us. And Zeus will destroy this race of mortal men when they come to have gray hair on the temples at their birth. Envy, foul-mouthed, delighting in evil, will go alone with wretched men, one and all, and bitter sorrow will be left for mortal men, and there will be no help against evil. Hear our riddle. Adonis, beloved of Astarte, all innocent, is seized by wicked men. He is held hostage. They will either kill Adonis or destroy a great city. Which is to be sacrificed? This one man or a city?
What a terrible question. Should Adonis, a man, anyone, man, woman or child, be sacrificed in order to save a city, a country, life on earth, to do evil to an innocent person that good may come for so many? This is a cruel question, facing us at many times in our lives when we have leaders who make decisions of such a sort. Meditate. Was not one man sacrificed for the people in Jerusalem? Cyrus killed millions at the Somme, millions in war, that good might come of it. Many gave their lives voluntarily for some cause, the country, the people. But this is a case of one man only, without the emotive power of being a woman or a child, just an expendable man, policeman, a soldier, a working man. I used to be told by a philosopher, would I sacrifice an old useless tramp to save the fourth bridge? And I always made the philosopher angry by saying I'd save the tramp. I was also given the same question, would I sacrifice Princess Elizabeth to save the Sistine Chapel? Well, I liked her a great deal less than a tramp, but I still didn't blow her up to save the Sistine Chapel. What's your answer? The neophyte has heard.
The answer is plain. Adonis must die. For the greatest good of the greatest number of people matters more than one life. A great city is the finest work of man. Yet this answer is not entirely agreeable to me.
The neophyte looks shattered, as if there's something evil in her soul which gives such a logical, practical and sensible answer. So she gazes once more into the mysterious crystal. No. It is upon this one young man,
beloved of Astarte, that the fate of the city depends. For without these two lovers, the city will be bereft of honor and courage. Let Adonis live. May Astarte rejoice, and she will save the city through her almighty power.
This is a splendid answer. The candidate has made her choice, and it is regarded as a good one, for she is presented with a leaf. Now the magus speaks in a serious voice of the future, yours and mine and ours.
The 4 ages of Kronos are at an end. Hearken to the prophecy of Merlin. This comes from the coming 5th age of space. A man shall grasp the lion within the earth, and the brightness of gold shall blind the eyes of those who behold it. Silver shall be of brilliant whiteness upon the circumference, and shall disturb the different wine presses. Mortals shall be drunk with the wine set forth for them, and from a deferred heaven shall look back upon the earth. Their stern faces shall turn to the stars, which shall confound their usual course. Roots and branches shall change place, and the newness of the world shall be a miracle. The brilliance of the sun shall be tarnished by Mercury's alloy, and there shall be dread among those who investigate. Stillborn of Arcadia shall change the disk of the sun, the helmet of Mars shall call for Venus. The madness of Mercury shall pass all bounds. Jupiter shall forsake his lawful paths, and Venus shall desert the lines appointed for her. The ill will of Saturn shall subside, and it shall render mortals with a crooked sickle.
The other magician, also with serious face, addresses the participant.
The 12 houses of stars shall deplore the transition of their guests. Gemini shall forego their accustomed embrace, and shall call the urn to the fountains. The scales of Libra shall hang obliquely until Aries shall put his curved horns upon them. The tail of Scorpio shall produce lightnings, and Cancer shall quarrel with the sun. Virgo shall mount the back of Sagittarius, and dim the flower of her virginity. The chariot of the moon shall disturb the zodiac, and the Pleiades break forth into weeping. Hereafter the office of Janus shall never return, but his gate shall lie hid in the interstices of Ariadne's crown. The waters shall rise at the stroke of a wand, and the labor of the ancients be recreated. The winds shall strive together with an awful blast, and shall make their sound among the stars. What does this mean?
Can you make head or tail of it? Curiously enough, one believes it. It is as if one were looking at a map of the stars and seeing them all move. But surely they can't, or would the earth move and make us think one doesn't quite like the sound of this? So let us not meditate, but try and receive any spiritual guidance as to the meaning of this prophecy of Merlin. How strange it is, this feeling of the star. Sometimes to receive inspiration you can feel a silvery-like tingling in you. The answer may come to you in dreams. Strange is the gift of prophecy. The neophyte also looks subdued, not her usual confident self giving intelligent answers. She replied,
It would appear to my mind that this is an astrological reading for the future, which would require a correctly delineated map that a forecast may be given. Yet the imagery is so powerful, there may be another meaning.
Ah, she's beginning to learn to penetrate the veil. She has a lovely, clear, logical mind that is necessary, but to understand the mysteries, the gnosis, it is necessary to have intuition. She gazes into the crystal.
What do I see? The fatal fire within the earth is unleashed by man's folly, and both earth and moon are drawn away from their orbits. So though no human eyes may see it, the constellations appear to change. But in verity it is the earth itself that changes her course, and not the heavens.
She has given the answer of her own soul. She has passed the test, and the enchantress presents her with a bowl of water and anoints her head. Now the enchantress addresses her, drawing her to the central altar on which is a pentagram and on which the crystal is placed.
Place your right hand upon the pentagram and your left hand upon the crystal, and say these words. My father is god of the occult sciences. My mother is goddess of the mysteries.
This is the ancient words. These represent initiation. The neophyte repeats them.
My father is god of the occult sciences. My mother is goddess of the mysteries.
The enchantress speaks. Let us all make this affirmation.
My father is the god of the occult sciences. My mother is goddess of the mysteries.
My father is god of the occult sciences. My mother is goddess of the mysteries.
My father is god of the occult sciences. My mother is goddess of the mysteries.
My father is god of the occult sciences. My mother is goddess of the mysteries.
My father is god of the occult sciences. My mother is goddess of the mysteries.
All the company now wait to feel the silvery power descend upon them, power of the inner spirit, enlightening minds and love in their hearts. They are seated for meditation, and the enchantress addresses them.
Let us meditate upon the union of Saturn and Astarte, that our minds may understand and our souls be awakened.
Let us also meditate. How beautiful is this scene as we are seated here in deep meditation, in the light of the stars above. Our souls are filled with understanding that we cannot live through the intellect alone. We need the wings of intuition, of the sphinx. But even as we feel this, we begin to rise into the air, and we watch a beautiful spiral dance made by the company in and out the stones, until we see a great silver cone of Astarte descend right through the great 80-foot square building, meeting an earthly cone of orange fire of Saturn from the earth. The two cones meet to form the six-pointed star. The company now, we know, finishing their dance, will give thanks to the deities and return 3 times on the path of the moon, and then forth outside the temple of the pylons. They will make procession down the hill through the palm garden until they make procession down the yew walk and return to the temple of Isis, lighted by flaming torches in the darkness. However, it is now time for you to return to your own time and place, bringing with you that which you have been given. You are now back in your own body, in your own time and place. I am Olivia Robertson, Clonigall Castle, Enniscorthy, South Ireland. Write to us any time. There are some sources: Hesiod, Apollodorus, Sanchoniathon, and Prophetia Anglicana, Merlini, Ambrosii Britanni. Ave, Salve, Vale.